And I'm very glad to see some of the very well-known faces after a long time. Like Shobakar, I miss these wonderful people with their hospitality and the good fellowship I used to enjoy in Scotland. And I was also encouraged by the commitment this you all people has for the mission and for the people affected by leprosy. It's really encouraged me during my visit. So I really missed that. And like Shobakar, I also hope and expect that there will be times soon that we will meet and share this face to face. There is nothing like a face to face meeting. I thank Linda and her team for inviting me in this conference. Yeah, like Shobakar, I remember I was present in one or two of these conferences and spoke, and that was really good opportunity to interact. Yeah, through this technology, I was thinking how this could be vibrate us in the same manner, because we are all in a different places, and going through this technology is not always easy. But thankfully, Linda, with her few mails, has explained how this could be more effective and more connecting to you all. So try to prepare in that manner. Yeah, and some of my presentation and slides will be similar to Shobakar. It reminds me, it reflects that how we are a part of the fellowship, and so we'll be very much speaking in the same tongue while speaking on these conferences. Yeah, and we are all passing difficult different times in this part of the world. The COVID is now affected us hugely. Especially we know about India and Nepal and Bangladesh as well. The COVID cases are rising. So, and there is also an additional challenge in Myanmar. So I'm sure that we all are praying for each other. Yeah, I would be sharing my screen and also sharing something so that I can see each other's face while I'm speaking, not only speaking and you see my presentation. So this would be more of an sort of interactive way of presenting. I name this presentation from myself the Partnership for Zero Leprosy, partnership between Bangladesh and Scotland. And that's the same way that Shobakar mentioned about the partnership, the bondage that Nepal and Scotland has. And a similar way, I experienced a strong partnership with Scotland. And I mean, if I share a few comments that came from TLM Scotland through Linda in different times, that has inspired me in this partnership, and that reflected the commitment in this partnership. So let me share my screen and can you see my screen?
Yes,
Stuart?
we can. Yes,
Okay.
we can.
So I like to read this comment from TLM Scotland. So what I will say is that if no one else step into the gap, TLM Scotland will. And we regularly go through funding gaps. And when I share this among the partners, our supporting partners, and I see immediate reaction from TLM Scotland. And this is really something boost me up and boost our team up. And we know there is you people standing across the other part of the world, and how strongly you feel to step up in supporting our fight against leprosy. So, it's really amazed me when I see these comments, and the other things are asked. So I really encouraged by these comments. There were at times additional funds left, and we were thinking what to do with these funds from COVID emergency relief, and we decided we use these funds for our staff protection, but we were not sure whether we can do that. So we asked our partners, those who funds for the COVID emergency fund, and this is what TLM Scotland replied. From TLM Scotland perspective, I am pleased to approve the use of the remaining fund from emergency support, the use of the protection materials to protect our colleagues. This is the first one that I received from our supporting partner. This is also something that encouraged us, that how our partners feel the same way that we do, really encouraged me and our team to go forward. This is also a comment I would like to read from TLM Scotland. We agreed that recommend that to the trustee that TLM Scotland commits to pay 10% of the budget. Our trustee have approved this additional funding. So these are some real encouragement that we received in TLM Bangladesh in different times. This does not always show that your support is only coming to us in terms of money, but I think this is more than money. And these are the commitment comes from your love and your continuous commitment for the work that we do together. So I think why this partnership, why this commitment, the comments that I received, I think it's very much based on trust. I think we trust each other as a member in the fellowship, TLM Scotland and TLM Bangladesh. We do trust that what we want to do here, and TLM Scotland trust that yes, TLM Bangladesh will do that and be able to do that. So there is a good trust between us when we do something together. There is a tremendous amount of flexibility that we experienced working with TLM Scotland, and the comments I've just mentioned, it reflects that flexibility. And this flexibility comes from the leader, the TLM Scotland team and the board, and many of you that you are working as a volunteer and donor, that you have continuously part of this flexibility. So thank you for that. I think we are very much has a common goal, the goal that to bring leprosy is a thing of past, to bring leprosy and the other three things in a zero, like zero discrimination and zero disability. So we very much believe in a common goal, and although we are separated by the geographical distance, but in spirit and as a fellowship member, we have a very common goal together. And we are committed. I think TLM Scotland is very committed, what they commit for TLM Bangladesh, what they commit through their strategy, what they commit for the people affected, and their commitment to the donor and to the God as well. And similarly, we see that commitment in our partnership. So I'm very delighted for that. And TLM Scotland is supporting now 3 of our program project, actually 4, apart from the country office. D. William Hospital, the hospital that provides the tertiary care support, the largest hospital, and many of you know, so I will not go in details of the activities, but I can and clarify them when the question and answer session comes. Also, the support Chittagong Leprosy project and the core research project that we do, and the Dhaka CBR, and very much what I mentioned about these 3 or 4 different projects. The support is also linked with the 000 that we are committed, and TLM Scotland is also committed. It is a zero disability, zero discrimination, and zero transmission. So very much a balanced way of the funding that TLM Scotland do. So this is a TLM working area in Bangladesh. And if you see the red marks are the area that we are directly working in Bangladesh. But the yellow ones are the area that we are covering through partners. And the partnership is a very strong manner that we have started working in Bangladesh to cover more areas. So that is how we do covering in different parts. So the following information is at a glance that what we do. Through this picture, I just want to highlight that we are covering 34 districts directly and indirectly through partnership out of 64 districts. We have 22 projects, and these are LCP, CBR, hospital, and the research sectors. We are directly and indirectly covering around 93 million population through this district coverage. And according to Bangladesh government, there are different types of high burden, low burden, and medium burden areas. But in 12 high burden districts, TLM is present to support the government. We are supporting to detect 55% new leprosy cases. And we are also supporting leprosy complication in the 100-bedded referral hospital that we have in the north of Bangladesh. I'd like to now give a bit details of our thematic areas that we do work, and sort of two areas that probably the more funding and resource is needed as far as our strategic goals are concerned. We are now working in these thematic areas: leprosy control and POD, prevention of disability, and that is through the hospital. We do socioeconomic rehabilitation or CBR, community-based rehabilitation. We definitely have a research, and we do advocacy for people affected by leprosy and through partnership. And thinking about the global strategy and our strategy alignment, we think the leprosy control and POD and research would be something that is the priority areas. And in the recent times, we have moved 5 new districts as per our commitment for leprosy control, because we are committed also for zero leprosy. So we extended in the 5 new districts to cover the leprosy control, and that is what the government has allowed us to work in these 5 new districts. And obviously, the new areas for leprosy services are the priority areas, and obviously for new research that we want to do as far as the strategies are concerned. Now, I like to share some people's story. I think these are something that will reflect our work and relate us that what we are doing and for what. Let me share a story of a lady, Selina. Selina Begum, and she is a leprosy affected people. And this story I will bring into a short, not in details. Her husband is to be the main earner, but in this COVID situation, her husband had to stop her business. He was doing a small tea shop, but because of the COVID and the lockdown and shutdown, many restaurants were not permitted to continue. So he had to close his tea stall business. But Ms. Begum was, a member of the self-help group in Dhaka CBR projects that TLM Scotland supports. And then she decided to do something in this COVID situation when many things are stopped and closed. But she decided to do something, so she took some loan from these groups and started this vegetable garden in a small leased land. So, and then she could do some sort of business by selling these vegetables into the markets, and that is how it has helped their family and restore sort of livelihood in that they were struggling because of the COVID. The next story is about a man called Mr. Saiful Islam from Chittagong Leprosy Management Project. This is a project also where TLM Scotland support. You can see this gentleman is unwell of family, but he was suffering with reaction and neuritis. And initially, like many people in Bangladesh, went to a physician and a dermatologist, and they give some other treatment, and he just spending money, but it did not bring any cure in his reactions. So later, at some stage, he contacted the Leprosy Mission clinic, and then they started his reaction treatment. He is not fully cured, but you can see there is evidence in his face that he had suffered with the reaction and the neuritis, ENL reaction. The other story is about Mr. Fazlu. He is also from Dhaka CBR, and probably a similar story that he has. He used to work in a brick field, but because of the COVID, he lost his job, and because of the deformity he developed with the COVID, with the leprosy. So he then, as a group member, took loan and started this business. So you can see a refrigerator he obtained from this business. And in this COVID situation, he's managed to maintain the family, even though the COVID situation was challenging. The COVID, is something that we all been suffered in different parts of the world. And as I mentioned, we are all now suffering. And there had been a difficult time in 2020 when we first faced this problem, and then we decided, because of the restriction and lockdown, many of our beneficiaries and group members were also suffering for not having anything to do to earn their livelihood. So we made an appeal to our members, our supporting partners, and we did some activities. We did support them one time with a one-time grant. And this is what we do in terms of emergency response through the COVID in 2020. When everything was almost stopped, and we managed to run a medical camp in Nilphamari through our DBLM hospital doctor. We make available the telephone numbers of our doctors for our beneficiaries and leprosy affected people, so that they get advice in the medical emergency situation. We have raised more than 5.6 billion Bangladeshi taka through our supporting partners, and use them through for 10,000 self-help group members and more than 800 leprosy affected people by giving them one-time cash grants for 2 weeks support. So these are something that we managed to do, and we also through our partners and our groups have done awareness and prevention and care for the COVID situation. The COVID has also impacted our staffs, like almost all the countries. We also suffered. Our staffs have seen the impact of the COVID. 25 of our staff affected with COVID, and one of our former staff, who was contract-based staff, has died. And there have been post-COVID complications, and many of our staffs have suffered with weakness and many other complications and struggled to regain in these in the official work. Obviously, physical and mental health issues are something that our staffs are still struggling because the life is not normal, and mental health is an issue. And definitely providing services in the field and in the hospital is still a challenge because the COVID situation is kind of going up and down, and it is not stable, and we are not being able to contain that completely. So there are pocket areas where the COVID cases are going quite high, and our staff are facing challenge to move in the field. And the COVID has also impacted our programs, mainly like the case detection has an impact because our staff could not move quite freely in the field. So we have seen in 2019 and 2020 there's a drop in case detection. The complication management also affected because we still do give the complication management in the field for the leprosy affected people and in the hospital. So we had to limit the admission, and we had to make them, for a quarantine in a different place, and then bring it to a main hospital. The severe program, the group activities suffered because the IGA could not work, and the loan that they revolved was also suffered. And the sample collection for research activities was also affected by the COVID situation. And there is definitely in the OPD, the outpatient department that we do in the hospital, and the local income that we generate through the OPDs are also affected. And I think I have probably shared these images with you already, and some of you will have seen these two pictures. They are one of the affected community of leprosy affected people that have suffered because of the COVID quite severely. In short, if I mention that the lady in the left, they are, the lady with the red shawl is a leprosy affected people, and a daughter in her left side. And the lady used to work in the Dhaka city and live in Dhaka city, but because of the COVID, they have to leave Dhaka, and their treatment was in Dhaka. So they moved to their village where they were not registered, and they find it difficult to continue their medication, the MDT services. We do make contact with them, and later we managed to give them this support through different other district in their nearby districts. So, but these are some of these examples that how the leprosy affected people have suffered. Similarly, the gentleman with severe reaction, and you can see that he is also someone who has suffered because of this the COVID situation, and regular supply of the prednisolone and the steroids to take care of his reactions. About to close with some of the challenges and prayers for those challenges. We have a country strategy to develop for TLM in Bangladesh for 2022 to 26. So we'll be working on that. We have extended the strategy already in 2021. So there's a big task ahead of us in this difficult situation. Many of you know that we have started a local governance journey. So there is an advisory board, but to do a total change in our registration, we need to do a lot of logistical change, and there are legal change needed. So that's a big challenge coming in terms of local governance. Adjusting in the new normal situation, because we know that this COVID will be with us for some time unless there is a mass vaccination, and this is being tackled worldwide. Otherwise, there will be a new situation, we have to adapt, and through that situation we have to give services for people and also take care of ourselves. So adjustment in the new normal situation is a challenge. Catch up in the backlogs, because as I mentioned that our we lost significant time, and many leprosy affected people were not get the services because of this pandemic. So we need to find these people and bring them into the services. As I said, the local income in the hospital has been a challenge because we cannot do our regular activities, and a good number of hospital budget is supported by the local income. So this is the challenge that we face. So we need your prayer and support for that. Thank you very much. This is all that I wanted to share and inspire you. And thank you for being patient in listening.